go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It is July 28th. This is Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. I'm Aaron Mays. I represent District 3. On my left is Commissioner Bill Rippon. He represents District 1. On my right, Commissioner Kevin Cook represents District 2. Good morning, both of you. Morning. Our County Clerk, Lisa Schmidt, at my far left, and our County Councilor, Rich Eckert, at my far right. Good morning to both of you as well.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Let's go ahead and get started. First item, please.
All right, first item is item 3, consent agenda.
We've got a long consent agenda today. If there's no questions or concerns with any of that, I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
All right, next item is new business, A, County Clerk. 1, consider all voucher payments.
Okay, the total for this voucher report is $3,616,662.76. Significant payments include $1,133,108.70 to Bettis Asphalt Construction for the road improvement project on Northwest 46th between Fielding and Rochester Roads, paid from the infrastructure fund. That's the only significant payment in this report. So if there's no questions or comments, I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
B, Public Works. 1, consider a request to update the status of Public Works positions that have been vacant for more than 365 days as of May 1, 2025.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Neas, Director of Public Works. Back in April of 2024, I came before you to actually what I had hoped for is that we could leave these positions within the county open and approved positions, but they were idled. And so here I'm before you right now requesting that they remain idled with one exception. I'd like to reinstate the bridge maintenance position and then idle an engineering technician position. The net result is 3 positions would remain idled. The bridge maintenance position, we'd reinstate that. I'd fill the bridge crew, and then this would give us the opportunity to split the bridge crew into 2 3-person crews so that we could tackle our small culverts at theoretically twice the pace. So with that, I look forward to your questions.
Questions?
No.
Kurt, when you say idle, you mean unfunded?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
So the position would still remain, but you're not going to have any funding for it from the county budget?
Well, if you recall, last year when they were, quote, unfunded, I think we moved money from the salary budget down to our non-salary budget. So they're theoretically funded.
Now, are you still required to pay the benefits for those positions?
If they've been idled or whatever the term is, I don't believe, well, okay. We're here.
We have a volunteer to answer the
That's
question.
No, these would not be, so these are shown as, they qualify as vacant idle because they've been unfilled for over a year. And so what we do is we don't budget for them and they don't have to pay benefits for them while they are still idle. And then this just prevents Kurt from having to come back and ask for these positions to be reopened should he have a need to fill these, if he finds a way that he can fit these in his budget in another way.
Okay, all right, that answers the question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Questions?
No.
So, I mean, what's the plan? Is there, for these positions? I mean, we're keeping them open, but
Well, they're there.
not filling
I
them.
would like them to stay as available at some point. I do have plans for at least 2 of the positions. I just don't want to do anything with them right now, other than reinstating the bridge maintenance position, filling the bridge crew, and then, which gives us the opportunity to be a little more flexible. That doesn't mean that I don't have plans for the other positions, just not today.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt the recommendation or request.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
C, Register of Deeds. 1, consider a request to keep the electronic archiving specialist position open that has been vacant for more than 365 days.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi, Register of Deeds. This is a critical position, help with technology management and support. It's kind of a unique situation. We had someone committed to fill it at the beginning of the year. They had worked part-time for about 6 months. We started training them, and then they chose to move on to other opportunities. But I would like the opportunity to try to fill this position if I could, keep it open. And it is paid out of the technology fund, not the general budget.
Okay. Any questions? All right, I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
D, Health Department. 1, consider approval of contract C 294-2025, a memorandum of understanding with United Way to serve as fiscal agent for the Early Childhood Block Grant with an award of $255,384.
Good morning, Commissioners. Misty Middendorf, Family Health Division Manager, Health Department. And this is our MOU with United Way we do annually as they act as our fiscal agent for this grant. And this funding will support our Nurse Family Partnership Program. And there's 10 other agencies that receive the same funding from the Early Childhood Block Grant. I'm open to questions.
Any questions?
No.
No. I'll move for, I'll second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
E, Sheriff's Office. 1, acknowledge that the Sheriff's Office went out for RFP on the new 911 console project for the main 911 center and the backup center. The only vendor, Zybex Systems Incorporated, met all the specifications. Bid of $1,030,903.05 to be allocated from the ARPA SLFRF interest funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shane Hubler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Project that we've all been aware of going on for quite some time now. Trying to get some new equipment, remodel the main center to replace the aging and broken equipment we have there, as well as the new backup center. Just a little bit background on that. We had to move locations from the elections building. We were able to locate through the partners here at Shawnee County. Mark Price at Information Technology had some space available at 1515 Saline, where we're going to be able to put the backup center. And we got a bid to get both of those with new equipment ready to go. And I'll stand for any questions.
I noticed you only have one bidder on this, is that correct?
Only one responsive bidder.
One
There were other
responsive.
bidders, but
I
they
see.
didn't
Okay,
meet the requirements.
all right.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, please.
F, Parks and Recreation. 1, consider approval to issue requests for proposals for materials, construction, and other services related to site preparations for the development of Gage Park Playland and the Sky Trail.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So recently you approved us going out for an RFP for construction services for the Playland project, and unfortunately, we did not receive any bids on that project. So I'm here today to ask for your permission to go out for RFPs for all of the things that we were going to have that person do. These are items like excavation, drainage, concrete footings, rebar, utility relocations, all the concrete work for the project. We would start to issue RFPs immediately with your approval so we can keep this project moving forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So, just to make sure I understand, we put out an RFP, did not get any responses, and that was collectively to do all of this with one bidder, and now we're piecemealing it out to subs, basically, or?
Well, we went out for an RFP for construction services for someone to manage those construction services.
Okay,
So that person would have organized all of this and done all of this and handled it. Now, essentially, we're going to do it in-house, but we will need to bid all of these things out, just
okay,
to follow the purchasing policy.
okay.
Is this just because there's a broad range of things? I mean, you have some concrete, you have some dirt work, you have,
Absolutely, and we're starting to feel a little bit of pressure to keep our timeline intact. So the goal today was to come up and get permission to be able to bid all of these things out individually. And of course, we'll have to come back up here and have you approve the bids. So, but we'd like to get started on that process so we can keep things moving along.
Is this something maybe we want to kind of tie in our new facility manager with to see if he might be able to help?
I'm all for working with folks, but I don't think so. I mean, I think that most of this is playground related. And, I mean, there's concrete services and things. We've got, I think we've got a plan in place. I think we're ready to move forward. I'm not sure that we need any assistance, but if he'd like to come visit with us, we'd be happy to do that.
Well, I mean, just, he's still pretty new. I imagine he's probably still trying to figure out all the
Right.
buildings before we start doing other stuff. So, I mean, I would say, just let the Parks and Rec staff handle it for now.
I
And
think, you know, from an engineering standpoint, the things that we don't typically do, like drainage and those sorts of things, we've got a pretty solid plan in place. So I think all we're really needing to do now is get people on board to do the work.
yeah, Commissioner Opon.
just a question about, do we have like a concrete guy on retainer that,
We do,
is this too
and
big for that, or?
yeah, I think so. I think the amount of work that we'll need to do will exceed what we can just give that vendor, so that's
Okay.
why we need to bid it out.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
G, Commission. 1, consider canceling the July 31st work session.
July 31st is the city swap visit with Lincoln, Nebraska, and so we are not going to be working that day, so I will make a motion that we cancel the work session for Thursday.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
H, Audit Finance. 1, 2026 CIP and budget discussions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. Just a second. Apologize for the loudness over the mic. Let's see. I think a good spot for us to start off would be to start off with where we left off our last budget discussion, which is when you guys set the maximum estimated mill levy for 2026's budget. That was set at 49.326 mil, and in order to make that budget work, we were left with having to find a budgetary savings from our departments of $5,092,000. Bringing you up to speed today, we are now, we've heard from several departments, and we are now still looking for a budget reduction of $2,711,000. So our departments have found some savings, not enough for what you guys are needing. And I can get into some details on what has been submitted as an adjustment to their budgets from the different departments, if you'd like. The Department of Corrections was, they offered up to reduce the number of new mental health correction specialists from 33 down to 23 for their new facility. And we also adjusted the start date for the mental health techs and the mental health supervisors, which was able to come up with a almost 927,000 reduction in the DOC budget. We found there was 3 instances where we were budgeting benefits but no wages, so we didn't need to budget the health insurance and et cetera for 3 different positions, so we reduced the district attorney's ask by $33,252. Emergency management removed their new intermittent position that they had asked for 2026. That was a savings of $21,800. We corrected the start dates on the 2 new RTCC deputies, and then there was also a offer from the sheriff's office to reduce their budget by $250,000 in contractual services area. Parks and Rec has notified us that they believe that they will be able to find $500,000 in budgetary cuts. They're still working through the details on those. I believe it's partially through some vacant positions that they found, and then some other areas. I can't speak to what the others are. I'm not aware of what those are yet. Public Works, through the vacant idle positions and his end-of-year transfer, is able to cut $500,000 from his budget request for 26. The Extension Council reached out and said that they now are final on what their employee benefit rates are going to be for 26. So they can reduce their budget for $750 for that, and then reducing it $1,000 for rentals. So, and then IT notified us, they had quite a bit, $30,000 in security system support. They're going to ask if that could be paid from their 2021 CIP project that they do not need to use for what it was originally issued for. And then they also were asking to use some of this year's CIP request for $70,000 towards that same item. And then they had a contract, hang on, I can't see my notes on this one. It was a net of $145,000. Keep their IT refresh where it is currently and delaying their content management system purchase. So that is what, and then we are working with the appraiser's office on the exact amount, but we believe in the appraiser's office they will be able to cut somewhere about $50,000 to $75,000 for some potential staffing changes that he may be looking at doing. So that is awesome. It's not on this form yet. We are still working on the numbers, but we should have that to you shortly. So that's where we sit today.
Okay, where do we want to start?
Start at the top,
Sure.
start with law enforcement.
Okay. So, let's look at law enforcement. The counselor's office had a 2% increase if you don't include the
27th pay period.
27th pay period. So I guess when I'm looking at these numbers, I'm looking at it without that in pretty much all cases. So it's,
The big ones are going to be Department of Corrections, District Attorney, and the Sheriff out of law enforcement.
correct.
And I guess the one that I would like to hear from the first is why the Sheriff is requesting a $3 million increase. And that might be just as, Department of Corrections is asking for a large one as well, but a lot of that's related to the new mental health facility. But
Good morning, Commissioners. Shane Hubler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. The largest piece of that is wages and salaries through bargaining unit raises that have been granted for the 2026 pay period. Actually, if you go away from wages, our ask is about 1.75% increase.
which is how much?
But
$420,000. Everything else is in wages and benefits.
so that was the FOP increase in their contract, right? Primarily, and then command staff increases that were
Primarily,
recently
yes, sir.
approved. Yeah. And that was, according to this, about 2.7 in wages and benefits.
That's correct.
What is the current number of unfilled positions that you have within the Sheriff?
For sworn, I believe.
No, for all.
For all at the sheriff's office. Approximately 9 or 10 in CWA and for dispatchers. We have, I believe, 4 or 5 in sworn, and then I believe just 2 or 3 in other civilian positions, Teamsters positions or unclassifieds.
And I guess maybe Commissioner Mays,
Yeah.
just as a statement to all present and all watching and all recording, there is a mandate from the public that we find places where we can reduce our budget. The amount of the property tax increase, the amount that people are paying, the amount of increase that we've seen over the last probably 5 years is reaching a tipping point. And so when we start talking about cuts, we recognize as commissioners that you're either going to have to cut programs that you're currently doing, projects that you want to do, or people. And so those are the only 3 things. When we reduce a budget, it's going to be one of those 3 things. Our department's either going to reduce their programs that they're currently doing, projects that they want to do, or the people in their force. And so if we talk about making a substantial cut to the sheriff's office, you're probably going to look at reducing the number of sworn officers that you have. And so we have to prepare for what is the impact from that, which is why, we as commissioners hope that you will communicate to us that, for example, if there was to be a $2 million reduction in the sheriff's request, what would be the impact from that? Are you going to cut programs, projects, or people? So, and that's just a statement to everybody, not specifically to you, but to everybody.
Right, and at this point, I don't want to get to the point where we have to do layoffs of any kind, and so vacant positions are an easy place to start in all departments. So, think about that. Any other questions for the sheriff's department?
So what you've explained to us is that outside of benefits and wages for currently budgeted positions, the request is $400,000 for other things?
And MSA 2 and 3, which is not wages and salaries, yes, it's around $420,000 is what our increase ask is this year.
And so maybe if you could get us a breakdown of what positions are currently not filled, both sworn and unsworn.
Yes, I don't have that
Okay.
with me immediately, but absolutely we can get that.
All right.
Okay, any further questions for the sheriff's department?
No, I just wanted to comment that when you have to make cuts in the budget, you have to look at the bigger ticket items. You have to look at the big, and you guys are at the top of the heap right now as far as your ask and your yearly request. So when we look at these budget cuts, it's probably going to come from the larger budgets. We have a lot of departments that they're all employees, and there's just, it's darn hard to cut in situations like that, and we can't afford to lose bodies in some of those areas, so that's the reality.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Community Corrections has a almost $400,000 increase, and that was partially for wages, but also because of the additional reimbursement or matching funds that we're giving to the state of Kansas. Is that,
Yes, the majority of their increase is due to a change in percentage allocation between the county-funded portion of their salaries and the state grant-funded portion of their salaries. Most of those went from about 66% county or state-funded to 50%.
okay.
Is that a recent change? Did they just?
If I'm not mistaken, maybe somebody else wants to speak on this, but I believe that it was supposed to be a 50-50 match, and we were not
Oh, yeah.
funding it to the level that the state
I
required.
recall that, yeah.
Good morning, Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. When you're talking about the match, the statute means that the Shawnee County is responsible for matching 100% of what the state gives us. So if the state gives us $2 million, Shawnee County is responsible for $2 million, and we're right about 50%. And the state recognizes that we're one of the few counties that do it, and that we're in good standing with the state. And but this request here is.
I just wanted to clarify that a 50-50 split in salaries is 100% match.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But that's what that is salaries and to continue our match to the state, yes.
Okay.
Brian, while you're there, when is our mental health wing set to open?
It's set to open up. We believe they're on track to open up right around, we believe it right around April or May of 2026.
Okay. And from our current staffing, how many could transition into working in that facility?
We, right now, we believe we can get away with 20. We are going to train 20 people that we currently have to be able to move from our existing operation into there. And we're hoping that whatever, if our budget gets there approved, we're going to work with HR to start hiring now to backfill those that are leaving our modules to go into those other places. So we right now are training people to go in there, because all I have is existing staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you had originally asked for 30,
Yes.
and if we were to budget for 20, and you're wanting to backfill those starting now immediately?
Yes, if we can, if our existing budget, I would work with HR and them on our existing budget now to be able to start hiring pay period one. If we, I would open them up now.
If you were to delay, maybe starting to backfill those positions until April, which would be Q2 of next year, what would be the financial impact from that?
You mean is the savings?
Well, two things. What would be the impact to your operations, but what would be our cost if we didn't start filling those 20 positions until April as opposed to starting them in January?
That probably could happen, yeah. I mean, right now we have 13 CS positions open and 3 there, and we have about 17 in the process. So we're trying to get those filled there, but if it meant a delay of the 20 to get them started for a quarter, we could handle that.
Because, I mean, if you hire on somebody, it's going to take a moment to get them trained up, I mean, to get through the process and hired on.
Exactly. Takes us about two months to get somebody hired and stuff like that. So if we were to delay getting those, I think there's a way with the current population that we're able to delay that by a quarter, and I'm happy to work with Jennifer on what that cost would be if she hasn't already done that.
It's an estimate, but I believe if you were going to hire the 23 that are still included in the budget, the 23 CS1s, and delay them a quarter, so only budget them for 3 quarters, that would be a savings of, I believe, $530,000.
So that'd be about 1.4 reduction.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe not that much, close.
Well, and the other thing also is that, I mean, if you posted those 20 positions today, you're not going to get 20 applications today either. I mean,
Our applications are, I've got 13 posted, and I've got 17 positions now. The likelihood I'll fill everyone from that 17 is not, if with the way backgrounds or polygraphs are, if I could get half of those, yeah, I'd be doing good, yeah.
and then it looks like, in the numbers that I have here, it looks like each of those positions with the benefits and everything included is about $90,000 annually.
Probably.
So, going from 23 to 20 would be a savings of $270,000.
The 3 other outside the 20 there go to, and obviously, Commissioner Cook did mention, cutting the program, those 3 extras are one's for program, one's for classification, one's for transport. Our transports programs would be tied in with the behavioral health. Obviously, if we didn't get it, then we would have to carve it down. Classification comes down that we've reduced classification numbers in the past, and our classification is a vital part of when it comes to making sure the inmates are appropriately housed, that we don't put an inappropriate placement that can cause legality. The transport, that's one that is really important. We have seen, we're now almost taking away 2 people from transports just to handle the Zoom calls that the attorneys are having, rather than come into they're doing that. And then the number of transports that we have that go to like Vallejo, outside appointments to the doctors, and then the court. The other here recently we had 4 trials, and we had 4 hospital posts. That took 8 people. That diminished our whole transport there. So that one extra is to be able to man the book, to be able to do the other things, and the classification. But the programs one, that would be one that that would be tied to this position as this here. It was a request for 33 CSs, and we would reduce it to 23 is what I'd like to do. I think that's where the 900-some thousand, and if we delayed a quarter for those 20, it would be another 500,000.
Okay, any other questions for Brian?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Jennifer, before we move on, again, just for both mine and everybody else's information, our hearing on the revenue neutral rate is set for when?
September the 8th.
Okay. And so we need to reduce our budget by $5 million before September the 8th.
That would be advisable, yeah.
Okay. And so we have really less than a month
Correct.
to make these decisions. Okay.
Yes, our budget, our final budget isn't due until September 20th to the clerk's office. Is that August 20th? No, not the final.
Oh, yeah.
The final is due on September 20th, but we want to have before we have our public hearing, I think it would be advisable for us to have a better idea of exactly what our budget is going to be and at least hit the, what we have stated is our maximum. And I believe you guys may have just received an email with vacant positions.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
I note that we do not have a representative from the district attorney's office present, but there is a requested increase of roughly $1 million in the
Yes.
district attorney's. And there was several open or unfilled positions within the district attorney's office from the information provided from HR.
Yeah, and I'm showing, I did some quick numbers this morning. I'm showing about $930,000 of that increase is in the MSA 1 area. And they do not have any union
Again, for
positions.
those that don't know,
I'm sorry.
finance speak, MSA.
Yes, I'm so sorry. MSA 1 is salary and benefits, so
Right.
personnel-related costs.
Thank you.
And according to this, the DA has 10 open positions right now. A couple of them haven't been open. 3 of them are within a month, but he's got 4 assistant DA positions that have been open, actually 5 over 100 days, I believe, so.
Sorry, I was scrolling on. I wasn't sure if you were done with the law enforcement area. Oh, I do want to mention, I'm sorry. The courts are showing no increase here, but I did want to note, they did reach out to us, and they have a couple projects that they had prior year's budget that had been transferred over for projects that they were working on related to the Dana Chandler case, as well as the courthouse renovations. They have funds left over in those projects, so they are releasing $203,000 back into our reserves. So they are not, they believe their budget is pretty lean and didn't see anywhere to adjust their 2026 budget, but they did find that they had some projects that they were ready to release back and show those projects as complete. So that's money going into our reserves on because it can't transfer into 26 is general fund.
We ready to go down to the next section?
Sure.
Yeah.
Next section is recreation. And I mean, the big increase there is going to be the owner's building expense for the Stormont-Vail Event Center, which is something we've talked about a few times now. And then obviously Parks and Rec went up, but I believe almost all of that is also MSA 1, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I guess half of it, so $400,000 approximately in MSA 1.
I believe if our number is true of the 27th pay period, which looks high to me, but they're not actually, I think their budget is looking fairly flat. Even though it's an increase, I believe the majority of that is accounted for with the 27th pay period. Our calculation may be a bit off because they do have seasonal workers, so they may be throwing our formula a little off.
And they do have a few positions that have been open quite a while.
Yes, and I believe, yeah, I'm sorry, I believe that is part of what they were looking at. Tim, you may have more details than I do on what the $500,000 reduction that they mentioned was.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation. Yeah, a big portion of that reduction would be from 5 vacant full-time positions that we currently have. And then on top of that, we reduced, I'm going to go into too much detail unless you want more detail on these, but we think we had more temporary seasonal employees in our sports division than we needed, so we trimmed that down. The Topeka Civic Theater had asked to up their budget, and we're at this point not going to do that, so that was about a $10,000 reduction. And then we did estimate, we've got a track record of all of our utility costs going up over the last 3 years. And so, but we did reduce our natural gas ask by about $100,000. So those were really probably the biggest ones. And then we've got several smaller cuts that we put together to get just shy of $500,000.
Could we get a list of the positions that you were
Yeah,
proposing
I have that,
at
so,
some
yeah.
point? So,
Yeah.
any other questions? Or
Tim, do you know when the contract comes up for renewal with the Rossville Pool?
It's close. If it's not the end of, I think it's the end of next year. I'll have to double check that.
Can we maybe look at if we were to release the Rossville Pool back to the city of Rossville, what that would do for our budget?
Sure.
And that may need the counselor's office to weigh in on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we can put some numbers together. And I'll verify the date of the contract as well.
But also, Rossville Pool may be one of the few pools that actually generates a profit.
It does do very well. Yes, they support their pool.
So
For
we
sure.
would want to look at that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
they probably did until we had to dig up the basin and replace the plumbing
Well,
2 years ago. whatever
Even through
was.
that, we've had a couple of years where we've had some pretty major projects there, but not only do they support it by attending it, but they also, most of the guards that work there are from Rossville, and we, year in and year out, have a great response from them. So we don't struggle to staff it like we do some other locations. But yeah, it is an expense, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So moving down to Public Works. I believe,
The appraiser has several open positions that just came open. I don't know if those are positions that he needs to refill or not, but the appraiser is present. That would be your cue.
Steve Bauman, County Appraiser. We are looking at that. And this is part of the potential offering that I'm giving. We don't have the final numbers yet, but working with HR and audit finance to try and determine what that might look like. Have a staff meeting today tomorrow to go over other potential changes too. So yes, we're gonna have to fill at least one of these positions. And if we fill one and we get a qualified candidate, if you remember right, a few years ago, you allowed me to run a succession plan, and that worked out pretty well, where we hired an extra person for a short time. So that person's coming on board. We get somebody else experienced, we'll only need one position. So we'll have some savings there. If we end up having to hire two off the street, we'll still end up with savings because of the costing difference.
Are you optimistic
I am.
on that?
I am.
And when do you think we'll know?
I'm hoping we will know prior to the next meeting, as far as what direction we're going to go and how much we can potentially save.
Okay. Let us know as soon as possible, please.
I sure will.
Any other questions for Steve?
No.
Okay, thank you. Weed department actually had a decrease in MSA 1, if I'm not mistaken. And their increase, I believe, was chemicals, right? John?
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. So ours is a little complicated with revenues and stuff, so that's really what adjusted is we've raised revenues to reflect more accurate, and so it's not really just one thing. It's just kind of balancing it out.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. And then planning department's increase was all MSA 1, it would appear. Is that right? Yeah. And Public Works is pretty much flat. The register of deeds we just heard from. So we'd be moving down to public health then.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Jennifer, are we required to fund the Conservation District?
I believe we are, but I have no idea on that one. I could double check that.
Okay, maybe our counselor office might be able to also check with us. Out of the public health, which are we would need to know which are we legally required to do.
Okay. I can find that out. I can tell you, I know the ambulance increase that's listed here, this is being budgeted because that contract, I believe, is up for renewal, and so we are not sure what the increase would be next year in that area. And so this, I believe, is the portion of the contract that would be for the
nurse navigation.
Nurse navigation.
Which
We are,
the nurse navigation already expired and we've extended it to the end of the year already.
correct, and we're currently paying for that extension out of our contingency fund in '25. The largest increase, as you can see, is a 30% increase from Vallejo. It's approximately $820,000 increase over last year's budget. Followed by ambulance, a 16% increase, the health department's 13% increase, and health access, it's showing a 10% increase. I do want to note, though, that what their request was to go back to the 2024 level of funding. They requested $10,000 less last year, thinking that there was going to be that they were seeing a trend in reduction of expenses, and the trend bounced back. So they didn't really have a trend. They just had a blip. Let me also clarify, I think I misspoke earlier. I said that the final budget was due September 20th, and it actually is due October 1st, so 10 more days.
We'll take them.
Yes. I probably was just hopeful, so I had time to create it. I do know a lot of the increases that were submitted by the health department were submitted to counteract the reduction in grant funds that they are seeing from both the state and federal level. So Teresa had mentioned to me that as she hears more in that area, if there's any relief and funding gets restored in any of those areas, she is going to let us know as soon as she hears that information. As of yet, she has not heard that anything is being recouped.
And so when we look at this vacancy report, there are several positions, just specifically looking at the health department, where it has the budget FTE and it is like 0.05, 0.4, 0.75. Those are the partially grant funded positions, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, they have split funded positions. Like sometimes if you look at the position number, you may see that same position number listed 4 times, but at different portions of their FTE.
Okay. And do we have a list of which ones are going to be unfunded already, or?
I believe we received something from the health department last week. I'm not sure if it specifically listed position numbers, but I'll find out. I'll take a look at that. I got that Thursday.
And then there was some clarification needed on the grants, if I'm not mistaken. Did we get that all sorted out?
As far as which grants were?
No, and the amount of grants. From CRC, wasn't there was a discrepancy, wasn't there, in their presentation about the number that we awarded last year?
I'm sorry, social service grants. I thought we were
Yes.
still on health department.
No,
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
That's
I was
okay.
moving down.
Yeah, yes, we did. It was, she had accidentally presented the amount that they had requested in '25 instead of the amount they were awarded in '25. So that has been resolved. She is requesting a 3% increase, so that's what that 266 represents. So she's requesting a 3% increase in both the social service grants and in the service programs for the elderly over the 2025 funding.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Let's move down to administrative services then. Couple of bigger increases. We've got IT, elections, and capital outlay are the three big ones there.
Yes. And on capital outlay, what I did was restored that. Last year, we started at 2.5 million and then ended up only awarding, or in our CIP, there was only 2,187,880 that was funded, and so that's where that reduction came from. So I just put it back to the 2.5 that we started with at the beginning of last year as well. Elections, I believe the reason you're seeing a larger increase there is due to the election cycle. In 2026 is one of the larger election years.
Yeah, this is the governor's race and the U.S. Senate race, I believe. And then, Mark, is Mark here? You want to talk about yours a little bit? So you've got a $681,000 increase, and it looks like a little more than 206 is the MSA1 increase for just your raises. Could you speak a little bit about the remainder there?
So a big part of the remainder, Mark Price IT, sorry. A big part of the remainder is an increase in Microsoft licensing. And when I say increase, it's changing the way we've been doing licensing. Sorry if this is not going to be interesting. So before we would always just buy Office licenses for a computer and we'd sit on those. They typically last about 10 years before into support. Microsoft is starting to change that to where if we were to buy the current license, we'd probably only get about 4 years out of that. So part of this licensing is changing to where instead of buying the license per computer, we're going to start licensing software, the Office license per user, to where we would buy a license for pretty much each user in the county. That's causing a major jump. That also, speaking with the counselor, it will start licensing our AI, Microsoft Copilot. That would give the users that have this license a licensed version of Copilot. The reason that's important is it allows us to do things like data loss protection, being able to protect what that AI pays attention to and listens to. As the counselor pointed out to me, I think it was last week, with just the free version of Copilot, if he is typing something into Word and using Copilot, that is going into the public AI knowledge, and so attorney-client privilege information would be being put into that database. That would make the same issue for any of our law enforcement people that might be putting any confidential case information in, health department with HIPAA data. So getting that license added is something we would like to do and like to see, so we can start protecting that. Like I said, that is probably about a $270,000 of that increase. We had that $100,000 for $95,000, which we've taken out for the content management. Another big part was additional software we purchased for archiving our social media, simplifying our core requests to where they're searchable by the users or by the public, and gives us a database management. It also gives us some ADA compliance tools we can utilize to make sure our website is compliant. I know those are the big ones in that's area that we were adding to. Like saying that the Microsoft was adding to 270,000. Going down the list, let me look real quick. Whatever.
Mark, before,
Yeah,
can
sorry.
I ask a question real quick? On the Microsoft licensing, do we have any way to track who's actually using their Microsoft license? I mean, if we're just going to transition every license over to the 365 with Copilot, I mean, surely there's some folks that don't really use it that we could just pull and have less licenses.
Depending on the user, we could look and see who uses that or not. That does tie our email in. Just out of, I say everyone, there are going to be definitely some users. For example, even with Microsoft, the jail is an example of a place you're not going to 100% license that way, because we have a module where you could have 3 or 4 officers in there throughout the day. So those officers, you do what's called the hybrid. So they're not going to have those licenses. So we are looking at where it makes sense. We're not just across the board. Parks and Rec is going to be another big location for the, not the office workers there. We're definitely taking that into consideration, not just going to across the board buy it for there. I guess for simplicity's sake, because I said everyone, but there are definitely some places, but we can look through and see what users are utilizing it, what users aren't, and try to pull those licenses back where needed and be a little more conservative. But that 260 number actually is not licensing every single user in Shawnee County. We've got currently expected numbers next year will be close to about 1,000, 1,500 users, and that doesn't cover all 1,000, 1,500 users.
All right. We're going to stand for a minute.
Yeah.
So this might be awkward for you, Mark.
No,
It is for us.
last Thursday was much more awkward, don't worry.
So, any other questions for Mark about that? I mean, I would be interested to see how many people are actually using their license, and if so, what portion of their license? Is that even possible to get? I mean, obviously, people use their email, but not everybody's going to be using PowerPoint or Excel. I'm going to guess at least not everybody.
I can try to figure out who's using what, which will kind of break down the users and come back Monday with kind of an estimate. I don't know there's a way to actually tell who's using it. We can tell where it's installed. We do have some software that requires it, or the software doesn't work correctly, but I can definitely look into that. I know one thing we've kind of looked at is if it is a real low-end user like that, they wouldn't even need an email, an Outlook license. They can access that via the web. So in those cases, if we have, and I don't know this for a fact, like a mechanic in the shop that needs access to email but isn't using anything else, that is a user we possibly could drop to nothing, or keep it where they probably already currently are, as email only, and they actually don't even have access to anything else on their computer, or access to Word and Excel if needed. But I'll try to get kind of an estimate by next Monday to you guys.
Okay. Any questions for Mark?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on any of these? I mean, treasurer's office is pretty flat, audit finance is pretty flat. I mean, really the only thing, I mean, facilities is flat. I mean, do we want to talk about capital outlay today?
No, but can we go back up to the treasurer, or the sheriff's office for a moment?
Sure. All right, let's go ahead and sit down.
One of our, it's more in capital outlay, but when the sheriff, one of our main expenditures is vehicles that we have. Right now, the vehicles are used by the officers, as I understand, and they can take them home. Is there any cost savings or benefit in having vehicles used by multiple officers rather than them taking them home? I know that the sheriff's office has had a long policy of taking vehicles home because they want to have that presence within the community. But just, again, we're looking at all angles here.
It has been a little bit, sorry, Shane Hubler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. It's been a little bit since we did a study, but I can tell you that the amount of miles that our deputies drive, if we narrowed the amount of vehicles we had, did hot seating, for lack of a better term, those miles would go up dramatically, and we'd be buying vehicles more often. I'll bet less vehicles, but the study that I remember doing was probably 20 years ago, and the cost savings was nominal, if there was any at all. But I'd be more than happy to look into the hot seating option. I just don't, historically, we haven't been able to see where it would show any savings at all.
By having an officer have their vehicle with them, they're able to respond more quickly if they're called into duty?
Oh, absolutely. We have multiple times, whether it be an overtime situation or a call out for SWAT. And while that may only be a small portion, we also have officers that come in for a myriad of different things. So there's a lot of advantages to having a take-home car for the county, not just for the officer. And one of those is we have lower mileage. We have vehicles in our fleet that are multiple years old, and I think the benefit is there. But I'd be happy to look into it if you want me to.
Yes.
So, kind of in that vein, do you know like what percentage of the fleet goes home with officers at night versus stays there? I mean, I would just say like, I lived across the street from an officer, and we liked having the car in the driveway, at night. And so I'm just curious, like, how many are going home versus how many are at the station?
I don't have a percentage for you. I can tell you anybody that lives within Shawnee County drives their vehicle home, any of the officers. We have approximately 115 officers. I would say probably at least 75 to 80% of those are parked throughout the county.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do any officers live outside the county?
We have multiple officers that live outside the county, and they're not allowed to take their vehicles outside
Okay,
the county.
so
So
the next question.
all of Shawnee County's cars are parked within Shawnee County.
Okay, but I
But
appreciate
I
that.
want to know.
I guess though, another kind of question, just more out of curiosity, I mean, we hear every year about the number of miles driven. Has there been any effort to reduce the number of miles driven, to look for efficiencies in that way?
I will tell you, most of the miles driven are responding to calls and doing proactive patrol. I'm afraid that if we did anything that reduced the miles, we would also reduce our responsiveness to calls for service.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions? Do we want to take any action today, or we want to think on it another week?
I said we come back in a week, and Jennifer, can you send out a notice to all department heads and directors that they need to be present next week?
Yes, do you also want me to reach out to any of the,
Community resource,
yes, any of our partners that are
Yes.
not county
Vallejo,
departments?
Extension, TARP?
Next week, next
Yes.
Monday, you'd like them all to be present?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and did we want to look at CIP at all, or?
Jennifer, when you send out the email, can you tell all departments that they should be prepared what would happen if there was a 4% or 5% reduction of their budget request
Across the board?
across the board? Are they going to cut programs, projects, or people?
Okay. So you want them to be
Prepared to answer that.
prepared to answer how they would,
Respond to a 5% cut.
okay.
Questions, comments? Okay. Then we will move on to our next item.
Next item is public comment. I didn't see anyone signed up.
I don't have anyone signed up, so we'll move on.
All right. Item 6, administrative communications.
Any administrative communications today?
Good morning, Jake Fisher, Shawnee County Elections Office. Just want to remind everybody again, early voting is currently going on at the Elections Office today through Friday, 8 a.m., 7 p.m., and then a week from today, Monday, 8 a.m. to noon. Election Day is a week from tomorrow. Also want to remind commissioners that we will be asking you to convene as the Board of County Canvassers on August the 18th, 9 a.m. at the Elections Office. Thank you.
I suppose that's one less day for us to debate the budget.
Commissioner, if you're so inclined, you may still debate the
I would
budget
say we
at
could
the
do
Elections Office if you'd like.
We could do it at the election office also.
Thank you.
Any other administrative communications? Kellen, you want to talk about the rodeo? Sure. And the fair?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Stormont Vale Event Center. This last weekend, we wrapped up the Shawnee County Fair. We had our first PBR that we've hosted since taking over the venue. Did phenomenally well. We had about 2,000 people in the building. Fair had a 50-50 raffle during the PBR. Went exceptionally well for a first-year event to come out and turn out and make some profit on that. Was really exciting. And also just a reminder, and I know the Fair Board is looking forward to this as well, 10% of our profits that we made on that show will be donated back to the fair. So a great weekend of events, a busy weekend of events. We got out of about 1 a.m. on Saturday, so a nice lazy day yesterday.
That's great. Thank you. Also had a big event in Noto over the weekend at Great Overland Station. Tim, did you want to give any report on that?
Yeah, Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. I don't have the times on me, but it is a pretty big event. I think it's something different than we've done. It's a concert that will be held outside of Great Overland Station, and they brought in some, I think, some bigger acts than we would normally bring in. So I think if you can make it out this weekend, it'd be a great time to do it.
No, it already happened. It was
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I was just curious
You
how
caught
many,
me
if
off
you had
guard.
any idea how many people showed up for it or anything, so.
No, I didn't get any report, but all those things remain true. It was a bigger event than we normally put on. But no, I have not heard. No update this morning on how it turned out.
All right. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot there. All right, anyone else?
Cut that part out.
Commissioner Rippon?
Yeah, it was well attended, apparently not by Tim, though, right? No, I have nothing else to add.
Commissioner Cook?
No, nothing more.
I'll just say a couple real quick. I have a son who works at the pool on Saturday, and we went to the pool. My wife grabbed a chair, and the chair next to us to the left, that family was from Osawatomie, and the people to the right of us was from somewhere in Wabunsee County. I think it's just kind of important to remember that Parks and Rec is an economic driver for us, and it's enjoyed by people from beyond Shawnee County.
Good point. I don't have anything really to add other than, again, just a reminder, no work session on Thursday. Next item, please.
Next item, executive sessions.
We do not have a need for executive session today, so we're adjourned.